Everyone's in suspense now, waiting why. I'm going to tell you why. It was kind of fun. We all love to go to the football games, the basketball games, being a fan, enjoying what's going on. And very seldom do we get a chance to get in the inside of an organization. I was fortunate enough to get a chance to talk to Tom, to Rita, to Gail, to Dennis, and we were talking about the basketball team and talking about naming of the team. And the more we talked, we said there's a chance to do something much more than just winning basketball championships. That's pretty important, but we can do more. And Tom shared some stories. I remember fondly the stories: hurricane, the Superdome, building falling apart. You know, we're going to stay, we're going to go. What can we do? Tom stood up and said, "I have a vision. The NFL and the Saints are going to lead, not just winning football games, but lead the rebuilding of our city." That was 6, 7 years ago. Look today, we have a Super Bowl next week. Look at what happened after the hurricane. Monday night football games, Thursday night football games, Sunday night football games, winning games, championships, Drew Brees, coaches standing up, owners standing up, everyone talking about the rebuilding of New Orleans. All the bad publicity, the PR, that was on TV day and night of people on rooftops, we couldn't buy that type of advertising to get our message across. The Saints led an effort by telling their story, and the PR we got out of that national, international, becoming America's team, overcame the negative. We became a city alive again, and it became much more than a football team. It's a legacy that I think people will be talking about for years, the importance of sports in rebuilding a city after the disaster. The same conversation we talked about with the basketball team. And we talked about the naming of the team, and when we started talking about different names, and Tom made it clear, I want to do more. We did it with football, what can we do with basketball? Think about it for a second. We are in one of the biggest crises in our history right now, losing the coast of Louisiana, losing the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. If we don't turn that around, the city we know today won't be the city for our grandkids, won't be a city for a lot of our kids. Completely changed. A big, big challenge. Its biggest recovery of the hurricane would be the recovery of our coast. I call Garrett Graves, who's the governor's right-hand man in charge of the entire coast. He works for the Gulf Coast of all the states, and sat down and talked to him and said, share with us about what can we do together. And he got excited, saying, we're going to be spending billions of dollars, which we have to spend, billions of dollars, but we also have to tell a story. We have to educate people to know what we're doing. You can't get public support for these type of programs without letting people know what the problem is and what the solution is. So working with Garrett, going back to the Hornets ownership, we began talking about the Pelicans. And what the Pelicans or the Hornets committed to is they're going to win championship basketball games, but they're going to be the leaders to rebuild our state, to rebuild our coast. And in doing that, we're committed to a strategic plan. It will be a 5 or 10-year plan on education for the messaging of how we're going to do wetland restoration. It'll be education, public relations, advertising, school programs, research programs. We can do it in a strategic plan with clear measurements each and every year. At the end of the day, we'll win our championship basketball games, but at the end of the day, much like the rebuilding of the city, Tom and his team will lead the rebuilding through education of our entire coast. It's a big deal to name, much more than the name of a basketball team. So that's the question mark that we wanted to answer. We're excited about the future. Garrett's here later with the press to answer any questions. We will come up with a plan. We'll share with the media. At the end of the day, if we can look back much like 7 years after the hurricane, 10 years from now and say the coast of Louisiana has been saved, we have accomplished our objective. Thank you very much. Let me now, speaking of dreamers and making things happen, I get a chance to introduce the mayor of New Orleans, and obviously to this group I don't have to introduce him, but I will say that there is a clear plan led by the mayor that from the destruction of the hurricane to the tricentennial celebration, which will take place in 2018, will be the biggest urban renewal ever in this country. And it's going to be led by the mayor that was picked by Newsweek as one of the top 5 mayors in the country. Should have been the top mayor, Mayor Michel Andrew.